for our relationship segments. Welcome back to Late Night Love, where we explore the tangled web of romance, trust, and intimacy. Tonight, the lineup includes pre-wedding jitters over finances and friends' divorces, dealing with infidelity during pregnancy, helping your partner embrace their body, exes who promise the world too late, bitch-matched libidos from the pasts. Oh, wow, I just threw everything in there, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
Sudden insecurities, and even how self-care impacts mental stability. No judgment, real talk, and we're just going to break it down. But before we got all that, and I forgot to do this during the break again. Before we get on to that, we've got another reaction thing we're going to do. This one. All right, and this is interesting, right? And so I'm actually kind of curious to what you think about it.
Okay.
True that men are less attractive to successful women.
If you show a man a photograph of a woman who's dressed like a CEO and she's gorgeous, and you show a man a picture of a woman who's dressed like a Burger King service person and she's drop dead gorgeous, men are going to find her similarly attractive in both conditions. It doesn't matter what the woman is doing. And there's been research that shows this. They'll show men and women photographs of people in different types of outfits. So men's ratings has just everything to do with how attractive the women are. For women rating men, it all depends on what they're wearing. Do they show cues to resource access? And women tend to modulate how physically attractive they find men based on whether or not they have these cues related to provisioning ability.
And so the interesting thing about this is when we listen to these things, we make judgments. We make judgment calls. Oh, well, this is good, bad. When the reality is, this is thousands upon thousands of years of evolution. We are victims of our DNA programming, essentially.
Well, to tell you the truth, how correct that video is really depends on my age and what I was doing in my life. Was I caring for small children? Was it after menopause? How far was I driven? And it wasn't until I was in my, early 40s, or mid 40s that, my mid 40s is when we met. I was about 35, and I finally just said, okay, God, I don't care what he looks like. I don't care how much money he makes. I don't even care what he does for a living. Just make him kind. Okay. And it took me 10 years to be ready for a man with 5 children. And that's so God got me ready.
See, there you go. Well, I think you are correct. I think where you are in life may have so when we talk about these kind of things, you're talking to big generalities, right?
Yeah.
You can pull an individual out of it and it's not going to apply to
them. Yeah. No. We're talking huge generalities.
Huge generalities.
Yeah, I was just relating
and your own personal
myself.
Experience. So
yeah.
So we are talking huge generalities, right? So we have to be careful when we talk about judgments. But I don't think we should be judging people on what is inherently part of our nature. Is it good or bad that women will change their view of attractiveness based upon cues of resource acquisition?
I don't even think it's, well, for a lot of women, I would say a lot.
Yeah,
okay.
But
it's subconscious.
Right. It's not a thought. For most of them, it's not a thought. It just is.
It's just, okay, this is what I know about him.
And it's like the men thing.
That's all. It's just information.
Yes, and men will find people attractive whether they find them attractive, right? It's got no relation
to what they do.
What they do, you're attractive or you're not. And whether you're a successful woman.
Okay, now is that strictly libido driven?
I don't think it's libido driven. I think it's the same thing as it's an unconscious decision based upon, like women will resource. Hey, that guy looks like he's got a lot of resources. I find him attractive. It pleases my eyes, so I find her attractive. It's There's no thought to it. It's a reaction.
Okay. I keep forgetting y'all are so visual.
But you guys, are you that now? Are women that different? If they're looking for, their cues are different.
I didn't.
Men are looking for wide hips, big breasts, signs of
Well,
reproduction
again,
ability.
it depends on what age.
Yeah.
You're gonna catch me. Now I'm like Sam Elliott, with the gray beard.
All my point is that how much of this stuff we shouldn't be overly judgy on these type of things, because it's mostly, as we've talked about, an innate human instinct, and it's not that judgment. That initial judgment shouldn't be judged. What you do with it can be, I think.
Well, I think being aware that this is something that is within us. And
well, it also points out, why do guys act like they have money? Why do guys try to drive fancy cars and dress nice even when they don't? All this kind of stuff. Why? Because they're trying to send signals of that they have access to resources.
Yeah.
Because it makes them look more attractive. Why do they think it makes them look attractive? Because it does. Science says it does. Makes them look more attractive to young women. I would assume it's more young women than I'm going to assume that middle-aged and older women are less susceptible to that. Not completely
susceptible.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then we start getting our own stuff. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. What's next? What are we going to start with?
Okay. I'm richer than my boyfriend, and we're planning to get married, but his best friend's divorce is making me nervous.
Okay.
Well,
here's the thing. Flip shoes. Whatever your response is, whether it's a prenup or whatever your nervousness is, and you should actually probably have a discussion with them, because your ability to have these discussions before your marriage will, send a signal on whether you can have these type of difficult discussions once you're married.
Yeah.
So this is good practice at having a difficult discussion.
Yes.
But whether the answer is something like a prenup or whatever your answer is, before you do that, make sure you put yourself in the other person's shoes honestly. And how would you feel if he made more money and he asked you to sign a prenup?
Mm-hmm.
Or if he made more money and he came to you saying, my friend's divorce is making me nervous. So before you approach that question, and you should, if you can't have this conversation with your future partner, you can't have it with anybody, right? Because cold feet and nervousness before is perfectly natural, and you're going to latch on to all kinds of things right?
Yes.
That cold feet, the nervousness is going to latch on to everything. So being able to work your way through it. But there's some truth here, right? If someone has vastly balanced a difference in wealth, you're worried about, especially in states like California, where you can essentially lose half your things after 6 months or something.
No, 10 years.
Yeah. But so have the discussion with your husband or your future, your fiance.
Yeah.
But make sure before you do, you've sat in his shoes for a while. Put yourself in the other person's shoes, and so you can approach it with a bit of empathy.
Yes.
And maybe all you really just need is to get it out.
Just talk about it.
Yeah.
Take the power away.
Yeah. Because now you're worried about somebody else's problems.
Yeah.
Yeah. But maybe it means you just haven't had the discussion you need to have, and you're just uncomfortable. Hey, how are we going to deal with our finances? We haven't really cleared it up. We've all said, oh, we'll just keep our own, but that doesn't really work in a marriage. So how are we actually going to figure this out? We're going to create a joint account with, each of us keep something, maybe it's just needs to work through that more carefully. Maybe you've already done it. Maybe you need to work through it more carefully, but it's an opportunity for you and your future spouse to become more prepared to deal with these things that are going to come up. Uncomfortable conversations are going to happen. And so this is an opportunity to set the precedent in how you guys deal with these kind of things. So it's how I would look at it. Try to look at it as an opportunity.
It is an opportunity.
Okay.
Yeah. Wife cheated on me with a woman while pregnant. This guy doesn't know where to begin with this one. You know, he's just all perplexed.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the pregnant has anything to do with it, but I mean, other than maybe her feeling alone. You know, pregnant women can sometimes feel alone, but doesn't really excuse anything, does it?
Yeah, she should have talked to him.
Yeah. Well, so what do you do? So the question is, what do you want to do? And then, is that path feasible? This is the same question, regardless of the genders of the people involved, right? The basic script does not change.
No, she cheated.
Yeah, and you know, her being pregnant may be an extenuating circumstance. Maybe it's not, but it is a complication. It'll have to be dealt with. So you're going to have to, you know, spend a little soul searching on figuring out what you want to do. You get to be selfish for a minute. Figure out exactly what you would, in an ideal world, you would want out of moving forward, and then work backwards from that. But you're going to have to take some time and contemplate that. It's the only answer I've got. And it's pretty much the same answer as you give for God. The chances of a successful reconciliation are slim, but they're not none.
No, it happens.
But it's, you know, you have to want it. And so does she.
So does she.
And both of you are going to have to want to put in the work to make that happen. And, you know, that's a difficult equation to fulfill.
You know, you may want to do a couple counseling sessions to kind of unravel at least some things.
Well, this is one of those things where if you're going to go counseling, I'd spend some personal counseling before you go couples counseling.
Oh yeah, personal.
And then
Is what I was talking about.
And then don't use your personal counselors for
a couples
counselor. That's someone independent. And yeah, good luck. There's no good answers on this one. So spend some time understanding what you actually want, you know, genuinely, not just because you're afraid of being alone, and, you know, work from there.
Okay.
Work backwards from there. Yeah. You get to be selfish because it's your turn to be selfish. Okay.
I want to find a way to get my boyfriend more comfortable with taking his shirt off. How can I get him more comfortable with sharing that with me? He has a little bit of a tummy.
Yeah. I know how that goes.
And so he doesn't feel, you know, as sexy is what he's sexy to her.
Yes. The rose-colored glasses thing. I get it. But here's the thing. How would this is another human being. If she didn't like taking her shirt off in front of her boyfriend, how is she going to make her comfortable doing that? It's almost not possible, right?
Yeah.
It's almost not possible.
Okay.
I mean, really all you can do is take the shirt off for him.
You could.
That's really right? In the sexiest way possible.
That is very good advice.
Yeah.
She could take her shirt off first and then do a little massage.
No, you're making too big of a thing of it. Don't overthink it.
Don't overthink it. Okay.
No. Just get all lovey-dovey and take your shirt off. In the process. Get a bit handsy and take your shirt off. Don't overthink it. Right? And
yeah.
And let men's nature work with you instead of against you on that one.
There you go.
So that's my suggestion. But you're never going to get him comfortable. It's just not going to happen. But you can, you can create the circumstances where you
You get what you want for a little bit.
Yep. That's
Yeah.
going to happen. And there's all the possibility that, if that becomes habitualized and then he becomes more comfortable in those conditions. But, I wouldn't hold my breath for that.
No.
No, but he may end up deciding to go, try to do something about what he views as a problem. So, but,
Sit-ups work.
well, she doesn't care, but
I know. That was for him.
yeah. So anyway, what do we have next?
My ex-boyfriend said he was going to propose for the last 4 years. When I finally found the courage to break it off, he proposed. I don't know if I should give it another chance.
No, let's see that.
No.
All right. What's
Sorry. That
No.
was short.
That was an easy one. She already made the decision. You don't go back. You made the decision to break it off for a reason.
You
Yeah.
really did. You really did. There was more than just that.
Yep.
And you know it.
Yeah. Yep. And because now he's only proposing because he's alone. Well, sometimes now maybe it's not impossible that he was taking paths of least resistance, and now he, don't know what you have until you've lost it, type of thing. But I don't know. This is one of those where I suspect that your instinct is probably correct. You break it off. So my answer is no.
At the very minimum, they need to establish themselves as their own person again,
Yeah.
and then see where they are.
Yeah. This is go establish yourself as a new person. And if in a year you guys want to give it another try, I suppose you can, but my guess is you wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
So.
Because you will have moved on.
Yeah. So no, I'm going to stand with my original answer. No. You don't give it another chance. You've moved on and you move on.
Okay. My wife was very intimately active with her ex, but not with me. He thinks he's doing something wrong.
Ebbs and flows of humanity.
It really does. It doesn't have, I hate saying this, it has very little to do with you.
No, it's, you married a sex kitten just in time for her to turn into a cat. And, and life's like that sometimes. But here's the thing. Did you actually marry her because of your sexual activity, or did you marry her because of everything else? It's a question to ask.
Yeah.
Because, even the everything else is going to change, right? That's how human evolution works. We grow, we change, we get old, things hurt. Things you used to be able to do, you can't do anymore. Things you were incompetent at now, used to be incompetent at, now you're competent at. Life changes.
Yeah. Big time.
And so you got caught in one of those. And I guess your decision is, you can ask, you can talk to her about it. If it's making you feel disconnected with her, you can have that conversation, and that way you can at least have a better understanding what she's going with. Maybe I don't know how old she is. Maybe she's dealing with menopause and just not in the mood. There's lots of things. Who knows?
I think it'll be back. It ebbs and flows.
Yeah, these things do ebb and flow. Keep the rest of the relationship, up to snuff, and those things will generally work themselves out one way or
They
another.
usually do. Yeah.
But worry about the rest of the relationship. But it's perfectly reasonable to have a conversation. Just again, when you have a conversation, you just talk about you, and you're not blaming anybody for it. It's just because it's one of those things that's going to feel very personal, and if you have this discussion, the other person is going to feel attacked, even under the best of circumstances and best of attempts. Right? It's going to feel like you're attacking them, and even when you don't intend to.
No.
So go with as much understanding and empathy as you can, and don't bring up that she had more active with her partner. Just talk about wishing more.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't bring up the past. Just talk.
Don't. No. That's comparing.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
No. Just say you're starting to feel disconnected and you would like to find some way to reconnect.
Yeah. That's a good one.
All right. So that's how I would deal with that.
Okay.
Good luck to you.
My boyfriend is suddenly insecure about the size of his
Gentleman sausage.
It's ruining our relationship. Now, this is sudden.
Okay. Huh. So where'd it come from?
Something happened.
Yeah.
I'd ask him. You got to be able to talk about this stuff, man.
Yeah. Well, the question is, here's the thing that we don't have an answer to. Is there a reason for him to be insecure? Now, granted, men have a nasty habit of thinking you need to be bigger than you actually do to be, you don't need to be porn sized to be pleasant.
I believe the average is 6 inches.
It's like somewhere between 5 and 6.
Yeah.
Right? And girth matters as well. And there's a whole wide range of things, and there's a whole wide range of things that can be perfectly pleasant for everybody involved. And so the question really becomes is, why is it new?
Why is it new? Yeah.
Yeah. Where did he get a comparative from? Did he all of a sudden start watching porn and all of us look bad compared to that?
I hate porn for that reason. I really do.
Well, most of us actually understand that, it's like a movie. It's cinematic. There's reasons that they choose the actors and actresses and positions and whatnot they choose because, camera angles and, it just is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like any other movie. It literally is. And so there's a certain unreality about it to make it pop more on the screen, so to speak.
Yes.
Yeah, because no one wants to see reality on the screen. Well, not really.
No one wants to see somebody just loses it,
Yeah, no one wants to see Mr. 3-inch Miracle,
But he's really caring and giving.
And he may be very good at his job just because, it just no one wants to see it because it's not visually stimulating.
Yeah.
And, but he doesn't need to be visually stimulating to the world. He only needs to be visually stimulating to her, and she's perfectly fine. Of course, the problem with it is that if you bring it up that he's fine for you and all that, you're essentially highlighting the problem. And so it's a very difficult thing to approach.
Really?
Yes. You're essentially in a strange way, you're reinforcing that it's actually is a problem.
Stop it.
Just is. Because we got to remember, for the vast majority of men, communication doesn't come from compliments. It comes from complaints. So that's how things get filtered through our head. Right or wrong, it just is. And so it's one of these no-win situations. It's kind of like the shirt thing. There's no real way you can solve this problem for him, because anything you'd really try to do is just going to highlight it. And so in a sense, the only thing you can do is continue to be pleased by what he has. And at some point, he'll get over himself.
And she made the point. She's happy.
Yes.
She doesn't get it.
But she can't tell him that.
And I've been in that position. I don't get why some of the people that I know and I,
reality doesn't count, doesn't matter. This perception matters.
Just completely baffles.
Because
me.
perception is oftentimes more important
Y'all
than reality.
watch too much porn.
It's got nothing to do with the porn. It's got, even if porn never existed, we'd still have this problem. Because we've all seen gyms, and you've got the showers and the growers, and and all the various things in between, and it just is what it is. You can't get rid of it. It's just going to be.
It's just part of being a guy, huh?
Just like boobs is part of being a woman.
Huh. All right.
There's just is, right?
Yeah.
It's like the women have the small titty committees, right?
And never happy.
It just is. And
Felt insecure their whole life.
so,
Okay. I get it.
yeah. It doesn't make any sense. Not really, but
No.
at the same time, it does because it's very human.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. We have a last question.
Last question for the night.
Mentally more stable after self-pleasure?
Well, there is a term some men use for this. I don't know if this is a man or a woman asking this question. Do we?
But no, I don't know.
Men call it post-nut clarity.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think it's an actual thing. I just think it feels like it's an actual thing. But they do. It does have a word for it. So maybe I don't experience it. Maybe they do. I don't know. I've never personally felt it to be a thing, but I've heard of it.
No, I had been distracted and then I got rid of that distraction, but I can't say I'm mentally more stable.
Well, there are studies that show orgasms have a positive effect on a wide variety of things that could make you mentally stable.
Huh.
Helps with depression, helps if they tell you if you're going to go give a speech, knock one out a couple hours before. It helps you give a better speech. There's all kinds of things that I suppose is a cumulative effect. You could make an argument that you're mentally more stable. Yeah. Stress relief. It does all kinds of things. Orgasms do all kinds of wondrous stuff for a short term. And so, releases all kinds of drugs in your body and endorphins and all kinds of things. And nature's a cruel and unusual place, man. She makes no sense. Mama Nature makes no sense. But at the same time, she's created this vastly beautiful world we live in. So what are we going to do about that? That was an intense relationship segment. Love can be messy, but it is what makes us human. Thanks for hanging in there with these stories. And that's all for this episode of Late Night Love. We've covered the spectrum from work frustrations to family joys and romantic roller coasters. We hope it gave you some food for thought or a good laugh. If you enjoyed it, hit that like, subscribe for more, and share your own experiences in those comments. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Have a good night. And please remember to love everybody.
Good night.